absolute honour. If I took myself back to being that little girl growing up in a tiny country town at the top corner of Victoria every Sunday night, watching Countdown, but not just watching it, having a tape recorder in front of it and telling all my brothers, all three of them who made me watch it every Sunday night to start, and then I made them, I would tell them every single tape had me going, shh, because I would record every song on the show every Sunday night, and that was the only way, pretty much, aside from one ABC radio station and the telly. We only had 2 channels, and the second channel was pretty ordinary, let's be honest. So Countdown was my window to the world, and I've had dealings with Molly over the years since, but it's going to be such an honour tonight to be able to finally talk to him about all the things I've ever wanted to know, and I'm sure you've ever wanted to know, about the wonderful program that was Countdown. It really was so influential for me, but also I feel like it changed the course of Australian music in so many ways, and that is down to Molly Meldrum, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Miff, please.
Molly, welcome.
Thank you very much, Miff. With that intro, I mean, how am I going to live up to that?
You don't have to, Molly, because you really did the job for so many of us in terms of broadening our minds, both culturally, but also broadening Australia's perception around the world, connecting with musicians. We could see that happening. Were you aware at the time how important the legacy of Countdown would be as we look 30 years down the track?
No, when Michael Shrimpton and Robbie Weeks had a meeting with me in the Botanical Bar and pub, I just was going for, I was actually working for Seminal, I think, at the time, and we put all these ideas together and the whole thing like that, you know, and then we got permission to do 6 shows, and then it became 8, and it was, you know, it was a lot of fun. We saw results, obviously with the, you know, with the bands of Skyhooks, John Paul Young, Sherbet, selling a lot more singles, as they were known back then, and there was a movement there, but we really had no idea what we were getting to, you know. I was a little bit more aware, I guess, than Robbie and Michael, because the ABC, in their wonderful way of doing things, weren't really worried about ratings, but because I had the commercial thing with the O10 network, with Uptight and Happening 70 and Commotion before that, and then obviously with Channel 7 as well, I was a bit more aware of what ratings meant, you know, and it was pleasing, you know. But when it finally came to an end of that 8 weeks, I thought, well, that's that, and hopefully we may get a chance to do something else soon. I got the shock of my life when Michael rang me and said, well, we've now got a show every week, and it's going to be an hour. And I went, are you having me on, Michael? And he said, no. And then it was just a real buzz, you know. And being the channel coordinator back then, or sort of like a producer, it was very satisfying to see the likes of, as I said, you know, with the boys, and, you know, like with Sherbet and Skyhooks and Squeak. He still learn to squeak to me, because every time you touch me, it squeaks. Oh, it's probably is. Oh, hello. Oh, dear. But it was an amazing time, you know. And then, because I had so many contacts from overseas, even back then through the Go Set days, and then it became a thing. And knowing the Beatles, it was a passport for me in England of getting different acts, you know. Yeah, it was a real buzz, you know. John Cougar Mellencamp, or Johnny Cougar back then.
That's right.
And obviously Human League, then obviously Madonna, and of course ABBA. And I think you know the story about ABBA, of where they did, a dear friend of theirs made a lot of their films, a la Video Stroke, whatever, you know. And he's become a very famous movie producer, director, whatever, you know. And then Tony Vert, who worked in our production team, said to me, "You've got to come and look at this song, because I think you'll like it, you know, and you'll like the video." So I went up, and I said, "Well, what's it called?" You know, he said, "Mamma Mia," you know. I went, "What?" I thought, "Oh God, it's Tony Vert. It's the, I was going to say the walk at him, but telling him the whole thing like that, and we loved it. And I absolutely loved it. So we then pressured them to release it as a single, and they said no. Both with the local record company here that had them, and then certainly from over there in Sweden, and then we kept playing it, and then we forced them to release it as a single, and so you know, Benny and Bjorn and the girls have been very grateful for that, and say that I helped discover them. Well, that's not true, because it was Tony Vert that really did it, you know, and made me look at that, you know. Mind you, I mean, the Mamma Mia thing, if we can just take time here, when they, I was flown across to England to see the musical, I went, all right. So they flew me across, and when I was living here in Melbourne, they gave me the script and the storyline of the whole you know, story of it, you know, what will be the stage show. And I started reading this on the plane. I thought, what the fuck are they talking about, a Greek island and all that sort of, they've gone mad, you know? And I got to London and I was convinced it was going to be a flop, you know? And I thought, how do I explain it to you know, them all? And of course, it was just a great stage show. And then, and of course, then the film with Meryl and all the girls and the whole cast, Pierce and everyone, you know, was momentous, you know.
Yeah. Well, you obviously picked some winners and didn't pick some in your time, but I've always been fascinated. You picked so many more winners than artists that didn't succeed. What were you looking for? Was there? It's such a difficult question to answer, but you seem to have the ability to narrow it down, and you got what we wanted or what we needed at the time. How did you do that?
Well, becoming such a great fan of the, you know, obviously of the Beatles and all of that, you know, and also before that, you know, my mum being an opera, and Gilbert and Sullivan and all that, and my grandma, you know, I always sort of depended on music in a way, you know, and I just felt that if something was different, give it a chance and have a listen to it, you know, and in so many cases, you know, those acts that I mentioned before, and there's a lot more others as well, you know, both overseas and in Australia, there would have been no Countdown without them, you know, nothing at all, you know, and with the enthusiasm of Michael Shrimpton, God bless him, and Robbie, and their belief, and the belief of the ABC here in Melbourne. It was extraordinary, you know. And I'm eternally grateful for all of them, and so should everyone else who ever enjoyed Countdown, because they were the ones that were the hit makers, not me, you know. And it's something, you know.
You're very humble, Ian. I think you probably had a lot more to do with it than that. But we are so thankful for all of those people for doing that. From a personal perspective, who was the most exciting person that just literally jumped out of the screen or off the stage at you, and you were so convinced that they were going to take on the world?
Well, you know, through all my friends, because I've already become friends with Elton and people like that, you know. But I've got to say that seeing Madonna and then just her on stage, just in a small venue, the whole thing of that, I thought, no, this girl has really got something. She's really cool, you know. So we placed a lot of belief in her, you know, and it was fantastic, you know. And then, you know, people like Human League, they always had that amazing talent that was different, but they had great producers and that. But if one goes back to the Beatles, I mean, the guy that I absolutely idolised and then had the great privilege of meeting him and then working with him was the fifth Beatle in George Martin, you know. And that gave me a want to be a record producer, you know. And much of the horror of people that are produced here, like Billy from the Ferrets, you know, kind of dread when he comes up, I can swear to God. Yeah, I mean, it was a buzz. It was a real buzz, you know.
I can imagine.
And it was hard for them also, sorry.
No, go.
But it was hard because even with the Ferrets, anything that I produced would have actually a very hard time on getting on Countdown.
Oh, of course.
Because something that I'd set the rules on, and Michael and them agreed, was that none of those tracks that I'd done could ever go on Countdown until it reached the top 15, you know?
Yeah.
Which is a big thing to do.
Well, yeah, it made your job difficult in that sense, but in terms of editorial policy, no doubt it was probably the right thing to do, because you would have been accused of nepotism, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been tough, though, as a producer.
Yeah, I mean, because even before Countdown, I'd had the success with obviously with Russell, and thank God he's not here talking about the making of even the real thing. Oh, well, who mama mama, but and then Colin Hewitt and people like that, and they're all wonderful to work with, you know, in an amazing way. And then with the Ferrets, you know, even though the Ferrets with Billy and all Katie and all of them almost gave me heart attack after heart attack after heart attack after heart attack, and when the thing went on for a year, and in fact when we finally finished the album, I think it was that lot agreed on it as well. It said it was produced by Will He Ever Finish? So.
That's hilarious. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Molly, let's get back to the show. You hinted at some of the good times, some of the wild times, some of the not to be repeated times. Was it as crazy as in my sort of, you know, childhood mind thought it was? Or was it less crazy, perhaps? Backstage and prior and afterwards?
No, it was definitely crazy.
Tell me the best story. Tell me when you just went, oh, this has gone too far.
I'll leave John Paul Young to tell that story.
We'll hold him to that.
He had me arrested one time. Outside the Ellsworth pub where we used to drink afterwards, you know. So Michael Shrimpton had to take me home to his place. with Jude and his lovely wife and the kids and that, yeah. And I was given a 2-week rest, yeah. And supposed to get my head together. But my other great love was surfing, so I pissed off down to Lawn and talking on that and surfed for 2 weeks, yeah. No, there's some crazy things that happened, you know. With poor Squeak again, he didn't know that we'd arranged with Just As Hero to have all the kids grab him and all that sort of thing.
Oh.
And what I didn't know is that he'd gone out and bought a beautiful shirt that he was so proud of. And all he was left with at the end of that number in the Countdown Studios was 2 cuffs. That was it. But yeah, there was some amazing scenes with Mark as well, and Ross Wilson. I mean, I absolutely idolised obviously Daddy Cool, and then Mondo Rock, you know, and Deborah. I mean, I was a fan of all these people, you know, all the time, you know, and it was a real privilege and a buzz to work with them.
Yeah. It always struck me when watching you that you were a fan and it wasn't a business. And to me, that was the key to Countdown. Do you feel like that was why it worked for you?
Yeah, I'm sure it did, you know. But I'll probably have to say to anyone here, because you all know that I'm very confused at times and bit up my hair or whatever it might be, you know. And when I get confused is when we had when we started taping on the Saturday, they would show the repeat of the week before, you know. And I get confused because I'll be walking down going, we've already done that number. Why are we doing it again? And all it was, I was looking at the monitor up there and it was being played through, you know. So it was very confusing at times, but it was a lot of fun, you know. And, you know, like with Sherbet and with Skyhooks, with the fans and those who followed, you're either a Skyhooker or a Sherbetier, you know. And they thought, a lot of people thought they didn't like each other. They were the best of friends, actually, all the time, you know. And it was a lot of fun, you know. And I mean, God bless Shirley. I miss him because he became one of my best friends, and you know, I just admired and loved him so much. And with the likes of Shirley, Squeak, Darren Braithwaite, they were the great hosts of the show, without a doubt, you know, because I didn't want to have to do the bit of being on the television, you know, again, and they insisted I had to, you know, and.
But you were so good at it, Molly. That's the thing. You were so natural, and you just don't see that anymore.
But well, the funny thing of that was then I was starting to be known by friends as Molly, you know, and Michael Shrimpton, because Squeak was hosting the show, and he was told when to introduce me, under no circumstances, I had to call him Molly, and la 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 la. And we didn't have a name for my segment, right? And Squeak did his bit and said, well, here he is, boring old Molly. And he calls it the segment Humdrum. So I got both of them one time, you know. And I looked at Michael and I said, well, we're going to have to do that again. And he said, I love it.
That's great. So that's how it got called Humdrum. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
He also took over from you sometimes when you got escorted off from hosting duties. What was the story behind that?
Yeah, the 100th show. I only got back from London, been working over there, you know, doing a put the show together over there, and then I was sharing a place with a lady called Caroline, who had the sex change and all that. So it was a dear friend, and she told me to calm down before I had to go and do the show. She said, "Look, this will calm you down, yeah." And I had this pill. Well, I was zonked out of my head. I was like, I don't know where I was, what I was doing, the whole thing like that. And then with Renee sort of accidentally patching me in the nose, they didn't help either. So thank God again for Squeak and Daryl Braithwaite that they finished the show for me.
Well, it was very entertaining for all of us, Molly, and a very human side to Australian television. I loved it. What has been your proudest moment? Maybe it was an act that you broke, or a series of interviews that you organised that you felt really connected with an artist.
I think, without a doubt, my proudest moment from the show was when we first started doing the shows. It was shown on a Friday night, and of course, you know, the advent of colour and the whole thing like that, you know. And I was doing a kid show at Channel 7, called Anything Can Happen, and before that was called Do It with Ian Buckland. And the only one that had a monitor of a colour television set was a dear friend of mine, Gordon French, who was one of the bosses at Channel 7. And so I raced up as soon as I finished to see the show go to air. And because until I saw it happening like that on television, I never dreamed that it would ever work, and you know, and let alone go on air, you know. And I was so proud that we'd achieved that so far. And funny enough, Michael and Robbie were in the city and watched it. I think, excuse me, on Myers or one of those big shops, and watched it there with all the people and saw the reaction of the people. So it was very good. And as before, I mean, the timing of doing that show was perfect. The time slot was amazing, let alone in the repeats as well. But the advent of colour was, without a doubt, the timing was perfect because, you know, like, to use a dear friend of mine, Barry Humphrey, but it's Dame Edna. Oh, darling, colour and movement there. Like that, so we got the colour and movement as well, you know. So it all worked well, and it came together like that, you know.
Why do you think no other music show captured the imagination of pretty much the entire country? And why do you think there hasn't really been something like that since? Could anything like that exist now? Well,
obviously, you know, in today's world, which is amazing, with you know, with the internet and social media and whatever, you know. But you know, I think back then with Countdown, as I said, the time slot was perfect when we finally got it, you know. But you know, on a Saturday morning, I thought, you know, it was a dear friend of mine with Donnie Sutherland. I thought that was a very, very good show, you know. And then with after that, when Dickie or Richard Wilkins, a dear friend, started doing the MTV stuff, they're all very, very good, you know. And then, you know, with Foxtel, with God bless Brian Walsh, that, you know, with Channel V and things like that, it really helped fill it in, you know. But on that, I think if you say about a show like Countdown, I don't think it would hurt if one found a proper, to me, say a proper, a host. Someone would make more sense than I would anyway. That you could still probably have an hour show on a prime time slot and show all the new ones and let, the people make the decision,
Yeah.
And they do make a decision, I mean, there's so much talent in the world, but there's so much talent in Australia. And it just needs the guidance. And I know a lot can be done in their home, or you just have the old garage day as well, in their lounge room, whatever it may be, But there is so much talent, and it's so diversified these days, from the ballads to rap to rock to everything. And I think if someone could put a show together and got that, it'd probably work.
Well, yeah, to me, I mean, algorithms are fine and playlists that other people put together are fine, but a computer that puts together a list, but you still need somebody that you trust to show you the way sometimes, especially when there's so much more. And it feels more necessary than ever to me that there should be something like that.
Yeah, very true. And also the fact that, in the world today, you don't really have a reference too much, for the public, of where it lies on the charts, how it's going, how it's, streaming and all that sort of thing, And I think that should be brought back to let everyone know what is happening there, I mean, I'm a big believer, obviously with shows, even like The Voice, X Factor, whatever, that it does give a chance for young people to show what they're like there,
Yeah. Well, hopefully something will happen in the future, Molly. Fingers crossed. I just want to reference a couple of the images from the Rennie Ellis exhibition that were of the Countdown Awards that happened was it a week after the final Countdown show? Oh, hello. Straight from the bedroom to the dance floor by the looks of things.
Oh my God, I thought it was a photo of me coming out in drag.
There we have Sting. He attended. What else have we got there? We might have to go backwards. There was a Billy Idol photograph in there.
Billy,
Didn't we love him?
It became a dear friend and a very talented man. But Billy was so much fun, and the time when he came over and we were doing sort of like the Countdown Awards with a countdown at the Palais Theatre actually, and Billy was co-hosting it with me in some respect. Are you okay there, Jizzy? Yeah, he's okay. And he was fired up, Billy, and he was being outrageous on when we were doing it on the set.
Right.
Oh God, and so I went, okay, well, Billy, it's back to you, Gavin. And Gavin, who was a dear friend, went, no. Back to you, Molly. I thought, you absolute prick. But Billy was great, and it was always so much fun overseas. The first time I ever met him in London when I did the first interview with Generation X after that, And look, those characters are just amazing. I mean, obviously you've seen the views, the ups and downs with me and Elton, but we're dear friends, and sometimes a good difference of opinion or an argument, even to a point that two queens call each other bitches, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. What were your memories of that final show? I've watched some of the footage, and you walked into the audience, and it was rather lovely. How did you feel when it was done and dusted and that period of your life had finished?
Well, it's become slightly difficult with us and the ABC, with David Hill being the head, where we needed to do more in production and the whole thing like that, and they said no. And I thought, well, but that's part of the essence of Countdown, you know? And then, you know, trying to get the record companies and I guess I got a bit tired of doing all that, you know? And feeling, you know, that I was, you know, robbing Paul, paying Peter, whatever, you know? So I sort of made up my mind that it was time to move on and or someone else had the show, you know, the whole thing like that, yeah. And they wouldn't buy that. And then Michael was so supportive and the whole thing like that, yeah. And then one time, I'll never forget this, he rang me on a Sunday night after the show, had gone to air, and he said, well, you've made up your mind when you think this should end then. And I said, yeah. I said, well, we've got the Countdown Awards, because they were later that year, in July, whenever it was, and I said, let's do it then. And it was like, it was weird because it was sort of like an echo in my head. You know, I'm thinking, am I really saying this, you know? And, you know, it was decided to do that, you know. And that whole trip up to Sydney to do that was certainly something else, you know. Catching the train up. And yes, I did chase the train in my underpants. So it was drama. As Trimlin said, oh my God, even before we get and start the damn show, wouldn't you know Meldrum would do this now, for fuck's sake? You know?
What happened? What happened in your undies, you said?
Yeah, well, because all my friends got on the train, because I love trains, and we got this on the Roar and the whole thing like that, yeah. Except some of my mates got a bit out of hand on the trip, yeah.
What a surprise.
And when it got to Albury Wodonga, it was decided that someone would have to leave the train, you know. And I was going out with Liz, my girlfriend, who actually came around the other day. She's a dear friend, yeah. And then when we got to Sydney, all this drama going on, and the press meetings at the railway station. Oh, jeez, what have we really done here, you know? So that was that, you know. And then because all the drama that gone on with Midnight Oil, and then wanting to take over the studio, and you know the sound, which was unheard of at the ABC, because you can't do that, you know, with the unions and that, you know, and that, and so it ended up they never did the show, you know, and then I came up with this mad idea that I'd shave my head just to show Peter Garrett that, you know, whatever, you know, and I didn't tell Michael or anyone like that, you know, and Liz shaved my head and then goes on there and stuck it on the back of her hat and whatever I did. And but I put someone in an envelope and gave it to Michael Shrimpton and said, now, you're not to open this until the end of the show, you know. And he had no idea. Then he had a sweet, some of his hair, what's going on there, you know. And so that was that. Now, Robbie Weeks, who originally was one of the you know, the ones that started the show and was director, Robbie never ever plotted how he'd shoot the show, you know.
So it was as loose as we thought it might be.
Absolutely. And tracking and all that sort of thing, yeah. And so when Cold Chisel decided to go into their own thing, Weeksley thought, beauty, now we can go for broke, you know. Not on Cold Chisel, but he thought, oh, good, they've broken the thing, so I'm going to break it as well, you know. So it was all a lot of fun, you know. But it was sad. But it just, you know, and I never believed it was going to be an end of an era, though. I really believed that there'd be another countdown, and another host, and all that sort of thing like that. So I was a bit shocked that when it didn't happen like that. But they thought I was upset with culture. Well, I wasn't at all. After the show, I went to a party of theirs, and we had a cracking good time. Then I went to bed that night, or the next day, and I woke up. I thought, why does it feel like sandpaper here, for God's sake?
Oh no.
And my head started growing again, and we go on the pillow. Oh my God, what have I done? But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, it looked like it from where I was in a small country town, and you've just given us, I mean, this whole room has collective memories. We shared something very, very special, I think, as kids, as teenagers, as adults. And Molly, I think, you're very responsible for that, and for that we thank you.
Well, the other thing that, I thank you too, but with the public...
That was my wind-up, Molly. You're obviously not very good at that on the show.
No, I just want to say this to those who brought that up. That the one thing that we started was the Countdown Council with schools right across the country.
Oh, yeah.
And that was very, very important, that input that they gave each week and told us, what we're doing right or wrong, or if, like Plastic Patron was a great example, and they loved that song.
Sapin pour moi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can pronounce it, I can't pronounce it. But yeah, things like that were fantastic.
Oh, great. No, we really appreciate it, Molly. And
That's a pleasure.
So wonderful of you to give us your insight tonight. What a special moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Ian Molly Meldrum and Ziggy.
Oh, stretching your legs now, little legs.